Is the United States dollar under threat?
Tonight, we'll bring you the second part of our story. This one is about alliances, about countries joining hands to challenge the US dollar.
Something insane is about to happen. After all, the world is indeed at an economic standoff. For many years, there have been rumors circulating about the BRICS nations introducing their own currency. If you don't already know, BRICS are the world's leading emerging market economies, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This currency aims to compete with the dollar as the main global reserve currency and replace it as the primary method for conducting international payments. So far, these discussions are just rumors up in the air. We did witness a growing trend of de-dollarization in 2022, with more countries opting to settle payments using their local currencies. However, the dollar still dominates most international payment settlements and continues to hold its position as the world's reserve currency. But right now, we have just received confirmation of a possible timeline for the launch of the BRICS currency, or at least the initial steps being taken in that direction. The news was reported by TASS, which is a Russian news agency. It primarily revolves around statements made by Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. According to the TASS report, Lavrov recently emphasized the need to consider creating internal currencies within the framework of BRICS. This matter will undoubtedly be discussed at the upcoming BRICS summit, scheduled to take place in late August in the Republic of South Africa. The summit will also include a group of African nations, and it is expected that President Lourenço of Angola will be among the attendees. These comments were made following a meeting between Lavrov and Lourenço. Regarding Lavrov's comment, he emphasized the significance of countries with self-respect, understanding the dangers that lie ahead. They recognize the questionable practices of those in control of the current international monetary system, and as a result, they aim to establish their own sustainable mechanisms protected from external influences. Despite differing opinions on Lavrov, it is important to understand that he succinctly summarizes the motivations behind de-dollarization efforts by countries such as China. Additionally, countries like Saudi Arabia may soon follow suit, prompted by the US. Freezing of Russian dollar-denominated assets following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This action, which weaponized the dollar, revealed to dollar-holding nations that political winds can shift, potentially putting them at risk. Consequently, China has been steadily divesting from US treasuries as they are the second largest holder of US debt. Additionally, they have also been accumulating gold as a safeguard. At the recent Davos gathering, the Saudi Arabian finance minister hinted at the possibility of accepting non-dollar payments for oil exports. The upcoming BRICS summit is set to take place in South Africa in August and will provide an opportunity to address these issues. Lavrov's statement confirms that creating a new currency system to rival the dollar will be a key focus at the summit. This development marks a significant milestone in the pursuit of alternative financial structures and the reduction of dollar dependence. Lavrov's comment underscores the understanding among serious nations regarding the importance of safeguarding their interests from the influence of the current international monetary system. There is a possibility of a significant announcement regarding the aforementioned system. They have been working on it behind the scenes for quite a while now. It's only a matter of time before they decide to implement it. South Africa, the host of the upcoming BRICS summit, has been openly discussing the admission of new members to the BRICS organization. They might even establish a BRICS Plus arrangement, although the exact name is yet to be determined. This means that Saudi Arabia, expressing an interest in joining BRICS, could become a member as early as this year. The signs of de-dollarization are apparent to anyone who pays attention. China, Russia, and central banks worldwide have been rapidly accumulating gold. This trend has been unprecedented since the 1960s. Plus, Russia and Iran have recently announced their collaboration on a gold-backed stablecoin cryptocurrency, likely designed for settling energy-related payments. Given that Russia and Iran possess over 40% of the world's natural gas reserves, they will certainly exert influence over payment mechanisms when it comes to the energy sector. Moving on, a significant development is Saudi Arabia's consideration of de-dollarization. The petrodollar system, in which they exclusively sell oil for dollars, serves as a fundamental cornerstone of the dollar's status as the world reserve currency. However, these ongoing developments do not imply an imminent demise of the dollar's role. The dollar has maintained its position as the world's reserve currency for approximately 80 years at this point, and such transitions do not happen overnight. The dollar's status as the world reserve currency may persist, but its influence could be limited to a smaller group of countries, namely the G7, Europe, Japan, and the US. Other nations, however, will seek to reduce their dependence on the dollar due to concerns about its potential use as a weapon. As a result, we may witness the emergence of rival currencies like a potential BRICS currency, or even the adoption of gold in various forms. The dollar's market share is expected to decrease as countries prioritize their own interests. Currently, the dollar is widely used for convenience, particularly due to the petrodollar system, which is the global practice of exchanging oil for US dollars, rather than any other currency. Saudi Arabia, being the largest oil exporter, started accepting dollars only for oil, leading other OPEC nations to follow suit. This widespread adoption simplified transactions for everyone involved. However, as we enter a new era characterized by a multipolar world and the weaponization of financial assets in fifth-generation warfare, de-dollarization is gaining momentum. The ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe, which is escalating, further fuels economic warfare. In this domain, the US and its allies may face greater vulnerability compared to traditional kinetic battlefields. While the US possesses aircraft carriers, this economic battlefield poses a unique set of challenges. We really need to keep a close eye on this situation as geopolitical tensions continue to shape the global financial landscape. The shifts in currency dynamics and efforts to reduce exposure to the dollar are an obvious reflection of a changing global order. As countries seek to safeguard their economic interests, the future may witness a redistribution of power in the international monetary system. We have formidable military capabilities, including tanks, and our armed forces are among the best trained in the world. Their extensive experience over the past 2 decades also reinforces their proficiency. However, the US also faces significant financial challenges with a staggering $31.5 trillion in debt and $170 trillion in unfunded liabilities stemming from entitlement programs. In contrast, the BRICS nations, which may surprise many of our viewers based on the comments, possess relatively lower debt levels compared to most Western countries. Additionally, they control a substantial portion of the world's natural resources. When we consider the inclusion of China, its enormous manufacturing capacity and substantial population will definitely enhance the potential impact of what's to come. As a result, they present a viable threat to the dominance of the US dollar and the US financial hegemony. Former Congressman Ron Paul says the dollar's popularity has already started to fall as countries around the world are no longer happy with American interventionist policies. In a new YouTube update, Paul said it shouldn't be surprising to anyone that other nations are finally trying to compete with the dollar. While the dollar suffered a significant hit to its world reserve status in recent years, the former presidential candidate says things are just getting started. The former Texas representative warns that BRICS, or the Economic Coalition of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is just the first chapter of a coming tidal wave against the dollar. He says to expect more countries to form similar bodies of power. Russia's chairman of the State Duma Committee on the Financial Market, Anatoly Aksakov, says negotiations on a new BRICS currency are already underway, with an agreement expected to be ironed out this year. Askov says, by linking its economy and currency to politics, the US is practically undermining the foundations of its dominance. I am sure that the share of the dollar will steadily decline in world trade. The upcoming BRICS announcement, whether it introduces a currency backed by a basket of currencies, commodities, or simply gold, will not bode well for the dollar. What are the potential implications of reducing dollar dependence on the international monetary system? Could the emergence of rival currencies and the adoption of alternative assets like gold impact the market share of the US dollar? Only time will answer these serious questions and concerns. So there you have it. Be sure to leave a comment. And before you leave, why not like and subscribe? See you next time.